You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. This episode is brought to you by the Rebeccas. If you're looking to buy a house, you don't have to look any further. As a matter of fact, this is Veterans Day. Now, they have some amazing VA loans for veterans out there. Now, if you need to find out information about that, get with the Rebeccas, and they'll certainly help you. Reach out to us, and we'll get you their numbers that they can help you with that. We've been talking about sacrifices, and we have a caller on the phone. Who do we got here?
This is Kirk Stinson.
Oh, Kirk, the plumber Stinson. What's going on, buddy? What kind of sacrifices do you make?
Well, right off the bat, as I was listening to the show, I was thinking one of the sacrifices I've made so that I can spend more time with my family is just working out early in the morning with y'all. And to me, like I was just talking to my kids yesterday and letting them know that, sometimes you don't know what we do to make things great for you. And one of my sacrifices is so that I can continue to spend my evenings with you. I get up at 3:30 in the morning or get to the gym at 3:30 in the morning so that we can spend quality time as a family when I get home. So I think it's the least I can do so that I can spend more quality time and have that kind of relationship with my family.
And I think that only a conscious parent would even have the audacity to think at that level, because unconscious parents aren't proactive like that. They don't look at how can I squeeze time in to be able to be with my kids so I'm there and I'm present. So I think only a conscious dad would even have the audacity to say, you know what, how do I still create a win-win? How do I get my wellness and fitness in so that and still have time fit in somewhere in my daily life to be able to spend time with my family?
Yeah, and it makes me think my wife actually is right now, she's doing a certification for cardio bar, and it's like a 3-week crazy certification, and she's getting up and going all day long, comes home, folds the laundry, make sure that we got breakfast in the morning before we leave. And she was just sharing with me last night that apparently there's this one lady there who the past couple of days has gotten worse and worse and worse, and the instructor said, well, what's going on? She goes, I don't have time for this to study. And apparently she's a lady from Beverly Hills who has a maid, child care, the whole thing. And she's like, my family wouldn't survive without me. And, some people's lack of, because I know I do the same thing, Kurt. For me, I realized a while back, because when my family gets up, my life now becomes about them, or when I go to work, it becomes about that. So for me to get my time in and still be there for my family, as I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get down there and do what I got to do.
I also want to point out, sacrifice comes when you see something that has greater value. I want to emphasize that you have to be able to see the greater value before you're willing to sacrifice something to go out and get that greater value. If the value is not big enough, then there's no really need to sacrifice anything. And the reason why I say that, because personally, for me, I've been avoiding working on my own wellness and my own physical well-being, because at a certain point, from that limited perspective, I didn't see the big picture. I didn't see the greater value. And it was through the process of waking up and an awareness, that a whole nother level of awareness in my physical wellness, is I started to see the value got bigger for me. The why was bigger. When the why gets big, all of a sudden now you're willing to kind of, surrender some things, let some things go. And that why for me was having a vision of spending quality time with my adult kids and their kids. So being able to be around for my grandkids to raise them was the why. And the why had to get really big for all of a sudden for me now to start digging deep and figuring out what I want to sacrifice now so that I can be the grandfather that I get to be in a later moment.
Yeah, and I think you were in class the other day when I said that, because when you start to think like that, or if you weren't there, I said that just the other day, when initially, whether it's going to the gym to lose weight, or, pursuing a new career, or whatever your goals are, initially it's always about us, and that's great. It should be, you got to be, but when you start to be able to get out of the box, as I say, and look farther like you did to your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great-great-grandkids, so you're hours sacrifice in the gym isn't about Alex losing some weight. It's about your legacy. The sacrifice you're making right now is going to change your legacy. And especially, I'm African American, you're Latin American. We're part of a population that's dying at the rate of 50 to 1. We're 68% morbidly obese as a nation. If we don't start making some choices and some sacrifices, we're going a long way.
Yeah, but you haven't tasted tacos.
Okay. I haven't tasted your tacos.
Or chicken and waffles.
What? I've been to Roscoe's, brother. I've been to Roscoe's. I've been there. I put a lot of syrup. Don't get me wrong.
Because you were talking about, culturally, that's why we're paying the prices. But we got some of the best food in the world. So.
Oh, and I want to say thanks to Kurt. Is he still there? He's gone, right? Kurt, okay. Thanks for calling us, Kurt. We really appreciate those calls. If anybody else wants to call in, you can call us at 661-298-5487. That's 661-298-5487. If we answer your call on air, every month we do a drawing, and you'll get a one-on-one Skype session with me and Alex to help you achieve your goals. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, I know but this is just me, and you take it for what it is. We all have our own beliefs, but I read a book once called Mark Batterson, and it was called All In. And there were a couple things that jumped out to me. One of the things was, when you make a decision to get in shape, when you make a decision to take back control of your life, are you all in, or are you kind of like, let me see if this works? Because if it doesn't work, I'm going to go do that. That's not all in. You're not making the full sacrifices. He shares a story of it's a history thing where the guy actually, maybe you know this, Alex, the guy actually took a bunch of soldiers in a ship, landed them on the land. They were going to war, and when they got off the ship and went on land, he burned the ship. So they were all in. There was no turning back.
That's right. I heard a version. I don't know if it's the same one. It was General Washington. George Washington led his troops across the bridge and then burned the bridge behind him. And there was no retreat, no surrender. And that was the distinction of what commitment is that you make that commitment and then you take away all your excuses. You don't give yourself any outs. Sometimes in leadership, it's called making declarations. You say something that you're committed to out loud in front of other people so they can hold you accountable. So now the only out you have is embarrassment. And I love that. I love that, we can be courageous enough and bold enough to make these declarations, to really put our butt on the line, to have something at stake. What's at stake? My word. So I give my word. My word's at stake because I don't want to break my word to myself or to the people that I've declared it around to other people.
And I got to take this moment because you opened the door, to give you props, because I got some other great news, and I really have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to, I always give my praise for me to my Lord and Savior Jesus, but next to that, 95% is a credit to you. I'm the same person sitting in front of you physically, bodily wise, but because of the work that you've been doing with me over the past couple of months, I'm showing up completely different. I'm getting that from many, many people, and I walked into an audition last week from a lady that's known me for over 20 years, and she was like, wow, that's the most amazing audition I've ever seen. It's the best one you've ever done for me. It was obviously so powerful that the role I auditioned for I didn't get, but they created one for me. And I actually got to go ask her today, what was different. And she said, at first she said, I really don't know. It was like, but it was just like, because I'm known for these intense characters, these bad guys, and that particular character that I read for was a really laid back, he was supposed to be a Hawaiian surfer, kind of crazy dude. And she said, you were just so at peace, and you just took that role and just made it real, and were just laid back, and you blew me away.
I know you're a humble guy and you're giving credit to me, but I want to point out that you are a great student. And because you're a great student, you're creating the results. And, you can be the best, and you're a coach also, so you know what it's like to be a coach and to be a good coach. But in order to create results, you have to have the person on the other side of you, that's the student, that's hungry, that's open, that has desire, and has worked through some of the common dysfunctions we have as human beings. You got to be your word. You got to be on time. You got to not question things. And you are the epitome of that. You're a great student. That's why you're creating these results. You have a level of commitment that, is second to none. When I first met you and I said, do you know what coachability means? And you were kind of like giving me your version. I said, to me, coaching is, if I tell you to go hug that tree for an hour, you're doing it, no questions asked. And I saw your eyes light up, and it was like, all right, now you're speaking my language. So, and not to mention that, but you're getting coached one-on-one 3 times a week. Not many of my clients do that. And so because you made that commitment and you've been making the sacrifices, right, figuring out how to run your kids to and from school and handling all that stuff, you've never missed a coaching session with me. You've never been late to anything. So, kudos to you, because you're taking the coaching and you're implementing it at the rate faster than the speed of instruction. As soon as I give it to you, you're on it and you're implementing it and you're creating those results. It's not no magical formula that I have. It's just a matter of you're taking the coaching and you're putting it into work for yourself. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to share something with you, and it makes me a little emotional, but for 14 years, as long as I've had my kids, I wanted respect from them. I wanted them to say certain things, and everything I was doing wasn't working, And then because of things that you've shared with me and that you taught me in the past 10 days, I got 2 texts just out of nowhere. Said, "Hey, Dad, I love you, and I just wanted to say good night, and you're a champion." And I was like, wow. All these years I've been trying all this crazy and it didn't work. And just from the stuff you've been sharing with me, it's just, so I can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sorry I got emotional, but
no, you don't need to apologize for that. It's the power and the beauty of you is, helping you get to find your authentic self has been, part of the journey. And you inspire me every day when I'm sitting in front of you. And, I know what it's like to be a coach, and you coach other people, and as you're coaching other people, you're really coaching yourself. And so I always get goodies when I'm coaching, other people, because I'm getting clarity too. But to have somebody in front of me that I get to mirror in front of and be the mirror, it's an incredible journey, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. Well, listen, getting back to sacrifices, because I don't want to be sitting here crying the whole show. But, in terms of trying to help people achieve their goals, and this is just the way I roll. You take what you can from it, but it's really not really unrealistic. A lot of people go, "Oh, that's kind of morbid." But I think anybody listening to this show, anybody in this room, I think everybody has had somebody in their life where they were here one day and the next day they were gone, and it wasn't supposed to happen. They weren't old, they weren't sick, they weren't this. They were just all of a sudden something tragic happened and they disappeared. So for me, the way I roll every day is when I wake up and I open my eyes, I'm like, wow, thank you, I got another day. But I don't go into that day. I attack that day relentlessly as if this could be my last day. And I want to do everything with excellence. Why? Because that's got my signature on it. And I always say to my students, how do you want to be remembered? Right now, we got 10 minutes left. You've heard me say, we got 10 minutes left in this class. I want you to give me 150% how you want to be remembered, right? When you walk out of here, do you want somebody to go, man, that Alex, I wish he would push himself on the bike? Nobody's ever going to say that about you, because you give it 100. Nobody says about any of my students, okay? Maybe the first time they come in my class, but not after that, because, I program them that. And I think if everybody could, you don't have to go to my degree, but maybe you do.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that, because I don't want people to think that they have to all of a sudden be extraordinary to the extreme. Getting to that level takes some patience, but it takes one step. You have to take one step, not continually sitting inside your comfort zone, hoping that one day is going to show up. You can hope forever and it's never going to show up. You have to be willing to just take one sacrifice. Just say, you know what, I'm willing to give up 10 minutes of my time. I'm willing to put, one day aside from not doing this one thing and dedicate it towards something that's going to be of growth, of value. It takes when I look back at my journey in the last couple months, I remember getting on that bicycle, and the first step was, you said something. I said, "Man, this seat hurts on my butt." And you're like, at a certain point, you're not going to feel it no more. And I looked at you like, what do you mean? You're like, it's just going to get callous. You're just not going to, it's going to be numb.
Callus is on your butt.
And I looked at you and I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm so glad that I was willing to go step by step. And we talked about this, one step at a time. You don't have to be the extreme overnight. It just takes one step. You have to just be willing. The first step maybe is to just show up. Or make the phone call. If it's to get help, maybe it's just one phone call to somebody going, "Hey, I need some support. I need your help. I need you to, wake me up. I need you to put me on your shoulders and carry you for a mile or two until I can realize that I can run my own, marathon or whatever it is." But people don't wake up one day and they're already extraordinary. You have to slowly choose to be a little bit at a time every single day. So, don't get discouraged and think that you have to be extraordinary, be doing great things just from 1 minute to the next. Start with little things. That's how it ends. That's how you end up getting to that point.
Yeah, and actually, you guys couldn't have come in at a perfect time, so go ahead and get yourself some mics. We were talking about, one step at a time, and as the real heroes just stepped into the room, just, guys, I got to tell you something. I'm not probably getting emotional again, but maybe it's Réal's day. So, but listen, when I first started training with the real heroes, I'll just be real with you. Me and Alex, we talked a little bit about this, specifically with, Andrew and Tom, but everybody that I take on. But man, I went home after that first day, and for me, it just went to another level because I was like, you know what? If I don't help these guys, I could be getting the call that I don't want to get. And that was just a whole nother level for me. And I am so proud. I remember the very first day we did a lap around. Tom could barely get one lap. His back was killing him. Today, you're going to see it on the video. He came around that first lap. He had a big smile like a little kid. He goes, "My back isn't hurting." And lap 2, it still wasn't hurting. Guys, we're talking about sacrifices today. What kind of sacrifices, what kind of things have you seen over the past, 6, 7 weeks now? Pretty close. Right?
Yeah, just over a month.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Andrew. Sacrifices. Just a lot. It's the little things, going home, not wanting to cook, passing by all the fast food places, just saying no because it's convenience. It's not fast food, but it's convenience food. It's right there. You don't have to cook. But sacrificing, okay, going home, I'm going to cook, have it in there. And then I heard you guys talking about just the small steps, that small victory of, good, I cooked. I even feel accomplished that I cooked something, that I made something on my own. Just those small things are working out great.
So it sounds like what you're saying is you had to sacrifice convenience. You had to give up the willing to have it be easy and really quick. So even if it means 45-minute process to get home and take the pans out and wash and do all that, that's a sacrifice that you're willing to make to stay on the straight and narrow and continue to eat healthy.
Because before this, I wouldn't think twice. I'm like, I cook. It would sound so good if I made some chicken and everything like that. But then I'm started thinking about 45 minutes. I have to do the dishes afterwards. I'm just going to go fast food and then throw my trash away, and then it's done.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. Tom, what about you?
I agree. I agree with Andrew. Our schedule at home, me and my wife, we both work different times, and the convenience of just going and picking something up to eat with the kids, and it's really a simple thing. And then you're always buying something unhealthy, but just taking that little bit of extra time, preparing something a little bit more healthy, it definitely makes a difference. And if you're going to do the workouts and everything, you also have to do the nutrition too.
You're starting to buy healthier foods and cooking healthier.
Yes.
So would you have to be sacrificing some money in your bank account?
Yeah, healthier food definitely does cost a little bit more. It does, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the extra.
And that's the distinction is the worth it means that you see a greater value. The greater value has to be seen before you're willing to sacrifice some of that money to be able to get to the greater value.
Right, definitely.
And that's something that I learned from Alex has made me a not better coach, an amazing coach, because I always would come at it, here, this is where we got to go. But he explained to me that as I'm sitting down with Kyle, as I'm sitting down with Andrew, as I'm sitting down with Tom, you're at all different positions or places in your life right now. And for me, just to throw the big picture at some of you or all of you or any of you, you might not be ready to hear that right now. Like let's use Andrew for a perfect example. When I first sat down with Andrew, we talked about where we were going to go and where we was going to get started. And the question he said to me was, well, how much is that going to cost to maintain that afterwards? And I shared with him what it was going to cost. And he was like, well, I can't afford that right now. And I said, well, let's not worry about that right now. But at that time,
there was no value. Value wasn't big enough.
There was no value. But at that time, he was spending money on beer and other things and going things. But as he lost the weight, he got rid of those things and he saw the value. And now he's spending money on other stuff. Is that correct, Andrew?
Oh, that's totally right. Going back, that beer was a big thing. That $20 here, $40 even, going out to bars and things like that. Just take that away and spend that money on a week of groceries or 2 weeks of groceries, so that subsidize the cost of that. Even eating healthy, it costs a little more, but if you take that away, the negative, and put it towards something positive, it evens out. But
it's the challenging part is from the outside looking in, you can't see that. You have to be inside the process to be able to have your eyes open up and go, oh, okay, now I see it. I'm 20 pounds lighter. I get a couple winks from some cute girls, around, and all of a sudden now it's, hey, how much did you say that?
Wait. Colin, Tom's mom is listening. No, but and it's so right. And from my point of view, right, I couldn't see why they couldn't see what I was seeing.
That's because you were on the inside looking out.
Inside. I'm like, what are you, crazy? You don't see the value? So, Kyle, listen, you've got crazy sacrifices. You just had a baby, but you don't miss anything. You show up. Tell us about what's going on with you.
Yeah, because you got some pretty good excuses. If you sold them, we might be able to buy them.
Here's the thing. I actually had that conversation. I had a meeting at church, and he's like, why are you here? I was like, oh, dude, I should have used this. I could have been sleeping right now.
My trump card.
Right? Yeah, no, it's I'm just going along with what these guys were saying I would like to say this real quick, just tongue in cheek. He spent way more than $40 on beer and stuff. I just want to say that.
Really?
I've heard some stories. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I've sat beside him and it was 40 maybe the first hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just saying,
man.
he's saving a ton. He's buying us all lunch. Is what I'm saying.
There you go.
Not to mention the chicken wings.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy moly. Oh my gosh.
But in terms of sacrifice, really, like I love like sweets and junk food and stuff. I love it, and so it's like it was a big sacrifice for me, and just cutting that out and setting an example for my family it's been a trip.
That's good. I've always said you can pay the price now, for making smarter choices, buying healthier food, cutting out, making different choices, or you can pay the price later for obesity, when you get the medical bills for obesity, diabetes, early death, not being around for your family and stuff like that.
I love what you said the other day. We were in class. It was a workout class. And you said something like, you were on the bike and you're in front of us and we're all, pedaling. And you said something like, some people say it's about the genes. Get out of here, or something like that. It ain't about the genes. It's about hard work and sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And, I'd never realized how, people could easily come to make up their own stories about how easy it is. You look at somebody and they look healthy, and you can easily justify it with, oh, well, you were blessed with, you can make up any story you want to justify, to not keep you from making that same kind of commitment.
Yeah, and they're going to make excuses. Speaking of excuses, let's set people up for success. We're together. The holidays are coming. Right? The average person puts on 10 to 17 pounds over the holidays. Okay? So we can say, oh, that's a no. Stop making those excuses. Okay? So listen, guys, just be focused on your goals. Here's what I'm going to end with today. If you've made the decision to finish what you started, congratulations, you're on a very small island. All right? You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Don't forget to download your free KHTS app on your app station. Listen, we've had an amazing show. We're really excited. We want to thank our sponsors, the Rebeccas. If you're looking to buy a house, they're the go-to place. We're going to be hearing more about them. Rebecca Mendoza and Rebecca DeLuca. And listen, next week, really exciting. It's going to be an important show. I've always said the most important person in a man's life, or a young man's life, is the coach next to the father. We're going to be looking at that, and also the importance of a coach as we're learning in, an elderly life.
Yeah, I'm a student in life, and so I'm always learning how to become a better or greater coach. I'm always open to growing, and I love watching other coaches coach, and checking out to see how I can shift my style and what I can learn more about myself to figure out how to help people get to their next level. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and one of the things since I've been working with you, I really become a people watcher. As you know, it's my homework. Last night we were at the banquet for my son, and it was really interesting to watch, to see, and I knew ahead of time because I've been there almost every day at the practices. There was one particular coach, and I'm hoping we'll have him on as a guest next week, who really stood out as a coach. And you could see at the banquet, you could see who the kids really, really were serious about, who made a difference in their life, and the other ones, you know what I mean? I remember 25 years later, I went back home and I searched out my football coach because he made such a difference in my life, and I wanted to thank him. So that's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss it. Alex, you got some exciting things going on coming up?
Yeah, I have my own show with my daughter on Fridays at 1 o'clock. It's called My Conscious Dad. We talk about our relationship and really look from the perspective of taking responsibility for our own relationship. What's missing from me that you're showing up like that? What's missing from me that I'm not experiencing the joy and the passion and the fulfillment in my life and in my relationship? So you definitely don't want to miss that. And then on Tuesday nights, we have an SEV Women's Empowerment group that I'm grateful to be in front of these powerful, courageous women, and I'm blown away every Tuesday night. And when I drive home, I feel so fulfilled and I feel so blessed to be in their presence because I'm watching the growth and I'm watching courageous women just challenge themselves. And what an amazing feeling. And it's open to the public. It's free. But just because it's free doesn't mean people are going to see the value and want to be able to look at themselves. And that takes a little warrior inside you to do that.
I've been hearing amazing things about that. You don't want to miss that. Listen, this is Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina on Getting Real. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Thanks for listening.